Let's look at how you can mount a head support on an E2 or E2 deep back. All of the E2 and E2 deep backs are pre-drilled for headrest attachment, and we have a new way of doing that that's really should enhance the speed with which you can mount or attach a head support to these backs. We'll look at two different things. If your back is 14 inches or taller, in the box with the back will be an extra little bag of hardware that will be called the headrest mounting kit. And I'm going to approach this assuming that you're using a matrix headrest first. So there's a couple different things inside this bag. There will be a spacer plate, a molded plastic spacer interface. There will be an oval metal thread plate that has a little bump out extension. And there will be a small bag containing 2 barrel head and 2 button head bolts. So 2 of each of these and 1 pair of lock nuts in that bag that comes with each back. So this is about attaching your headrest receiver to the E2 or E2 deep back. And of course, you'll need a headrest receiver. On the Matrix Elan or Lux headrests, all of these are shipping with a headrest receiver with a quick release knob. And you'll always find a pair of bolts attached to this. However, these are pretty long. You won't need these long bolts for this interface to an E2. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove these long bolts and set those aside. And now we're gonna look at mounting our receiver with the knob to this molded plastic spacer interface. So you'll see that there's a flat rectangular side of this, and that is where the headrest receiver will be mounted. And in order to do that, I'm going to use the button head, the smooth domed button head bolts, which I just removed the extra long ones. These are shorter that came with this headrest package. And I'm going to put one through on each side of this. It passes through the spacer interface, and it's going to show up right here in this pre-formed molded hex receiver. That's where I'm going to put my little hex nut, and I'm going to be tightening these together to permanently mount my headrest receiver to the spacer interface. And we're using this shorter bolt because when this goes together, the idea is that this will be a flush assembly. There will not be any protruding bolt sticking out behind this piece, so there won't be any resistance when we actually attach it to the back support. So it should mount nice and flush, and then we'll put the other side on. Same thing, shorter barrel button head bolt through here, and the lock nut that drops into the receiver onto this molded piece. And this is how we'll be set up to attach this to our E2 or E2 deep back. So now I have my receiver attached to the headrest spacer interface. The headrest spacer interface is important for all the matrix backs because we use a wrap over foam. This spacer is going to step off the receiver just enough so that the vertical bar of a headrest is going to clear this foam. So now I need to attach my headrest receiver and my spacer interface to the back shell. With the E2 and E2 deep backs, you're going to notice a very unusual hole pattern. The center 2 holes, dead center in the middle of this back. This is our point of attachment for this spacer interface. So you'll see that hopefully you can see that I have a hex-shaped opening above and below where the spacer, in the spacer, above and below where the receiver is. And these are the 2 points of attachment. I'm going to be pressing my bolts from the outside in, And this design is really about trying to save you time to attach a headrest without having to take the back off the chair or to take the consumer even out of the chair. I can attach a headrest to these backs just with it installed with the consumer in it. So I've got my spacer interface and receiver now together. The other aspect, remember, in our bag was an oval-shaped metal plate that is threaded, top and bottom, and there's a small ridge or bump out on the back to extend the threads just slightly. So my first thing is going to be setting this inside the back shell and lining up these tapped holes with the pre-drilled holes in the shell. So I want to be sure that I slide this up with those bumps facing the foam so that this will be completely flush to the inside of the shell. And as I bring that up, you can feed it through the window, the center windowing, and line this up. Or you can sometimes I can actually do it through the handle in the top as well. So you want to be sure that we've got our hole lined up through here. I'm going to have my headrest bracket lined up here, and I'm going to be using the barrel head bolts that came in the bag with this assembly to attach this to the back shell. Okay, so I pass this through my interface into the hole. I'll use the top hole assembly first, and I line that up with the thread, and now I'm going to use my larger Allen wrench and tighten this up and have this permanently attached to the back, and then we'll put the bottom bolt in, and that will draw this tight, and I will have attached my headrest assembly receiver to this piece, and we'll be ready to drop our headrest in. So now we have our headrest receiver mounted to the spacer interface, attached to the E2 back here, and I'm going to drop in, this happens to be our Locks headrest mounting hardware. We'll drop that right in, use the hand knob and attach it, and there you go.